everybody, welcome back to the Mindful Yoga Medic. Thank you for joining me today for this Energising Flow. For our flow today you're going to need a strap or something that you can use like a strap, such as a dressing gown belt or a normal belt, anything that is strong and isn't going to break. And also a yoga block if you have one to hand. If not, a pretty sturdy book will do. That will be really useful for some balance work we're going to do during this flow today. So we're going to start in modified hero's pose. So that's coming onto our knees, and if you find this puts a lot of pressure on the front of your ankles, you can roll up a little bit of a small towel and put that under your ankles. Will take some of the strain off. You might not be able to get your bottom onto your heels, that's fine. You can pop a cushion underneath your bottom, or if you can get down this far, then just wiggle your heels apart slightly so that you've got a little place for your bottom to rest. I'm just going to drop the eyes closed and find our centre today. Check in with ourselves and see how we're feeling. Just noticing how the breath feels today. Letting it come in through the nose and out through the nose. We're going to be doing some flows today and also some fairly challenging postures, or some of them can be quite challenging. I will do modifications where possible for them. So as always, just listen to your body. Don't do more than you feel your body can do, and there's no full pose, it's only the expression that your body can do safely and comfortably. So at all times, please look after yourselves today. Bring the arms up overhead and twist slightly to the right, and letting the arms just fall to one side. See if you can bring that right hand behind the body, turning your head to look over the right shoulder, coming in for a gentle twist, waking the spine up. Breathe here. Come back to centre, bring the arms back up overhead again, and we're going to twist to the other side. Again, bring that left arm round if you can, turning the head to look over that left shoulder. Stay tall and long in the spine here, reaching up from the crown of the head as if you're being pulled upwards by a piece of string. Coming back round to centre, let's get some movement going in the shoulders. So on the inhale, we're going to bring the shoulders up to the ears. Exhale, let them melt down the back. And again, inhale, we roll up. Exhale, melt down backwards. Bring the hands to the shoulders and let the whole arm come in on this movement now. As you inhale, really try and fill the belly and the chest. Exhale, let it all fall. Shake out the arms. Come onto all fours facing the front of your mat. Finding neutral position for your spine, wherever that might be. And taking a few rounds of cat-cows. Inhale, we lift the tailbone and the gaze slightly. Exhale, we round. Inhale, we extend. Exhale, round. So this just helps get some more movement in the spine. A lot of energising postures. Keep doing this in your own time as you listen to me chatting away. A lot of the postures we're going to be doing today, a lot of the energising postures, will be involving extension of the back. We're going to do that safely by engaging our core to protect our back. But it will involve quite a lot of movement within the back, so we want to make sure that we're nice and warm before we attempt any of those. Now, the next time you go for an inhale, I want you to try and see if you can lead the movement from your tailbone. So only your tailbone moves. Ripples up through the lower spine, through the mid-spine, thoracic spine, and then finally coming out with the head coming up slightly. And then as we round, I want you to go in reverse. So the head begins. Again, we go all the way from the neck, the mid-spine, the lower spine, and then the tail tucks. Do 2 more like that, moving, trying to go vertebrae by vertebrae in your own time. Cat-cow is one of those movements that's really common in yoga practices, and it's really easy to just switch off and go onto autopilot. I want you to really feel the movement today. Do something that feels a little bit different. So we switch things back on. Excellent. Find that neutral spine again. Inhale, I want you to bring the right arm and scoop it underneath the left. And see if you can get down towards the ground. It doesn't matter how far down you get, that might be up here. It might be resting on the floor. Just trying to get, again, another little twist coming through. You can draw the eyes closed here. And breathe. If you'd like to play with balance a little bit today, I invite you to try and straighten that left leg out behind you. That can be toes on the floor, or it can be toes lifted, or staying with both knees on the ground. All options are perfect. If you extended the leg, bring that one back in, back up to all fours, and then we're going to scooch the left arm underneath now to do exactly the same on the other side. If you extended the leg on the other side, I invite you to do that on this side as well. And likewise if you lifted the toes. Breathe here. Again, the breath should be steady and comfortable. If you're finding you're breathing shallowly, maybe rein it back in a little. Bring the leg back and coming back up to all fours. Ground through the fingers, tuck the toes under, and let's shoot the hips up to the ceiling for our first downward dog. Let the head hang heavy. You can have a nice bend in the knees here if you want, heels up off the floor. Try and get that lengthening in the spine. And as you start to feel a bit warmer, we can try and straighten the legs a little bit more, bring the heels to the floor. Whatever your downward dog looks like today. On an inhale, lift up onto the heels and roll forwards to plank. That can be high plank or low plank with the knees on the floor. Bring yourself down to the mat. And keeping the hands underneath the shoulders, we're going to do some cobras here to start warming the back up further. So as you're lying on your mat, stretch your right foot all the way back and your left. See how long you can get on your mat. On the inhale, we're going to do a baby cobra to begin with, so just a very small lift here. We want to make sure that we're strong, so the belly button's pulled in. You shouldn't feel any pinching in your lower back. If you are, try and engage your belly button towards your spine, engage your abdominal muscles, or lower the bend slightly. And breathe here. Your breathing will become more shallow as we're doing an extension whilst laying on the belly. But make sure you do keep breathing. Exhale down to the mat. Inhale, we're going to take that again. And perhaps coming up a little bit higher here. Depends on how warm your back's feeling today. Again, we don't want any pinching or pain in the lower back. You should start to feel the movement, start to feel that you're using different parts of the body. And exhale down. Excellent. And for the last one, we're going to do the same, seeing if we can come up a little bit further. Inhale, pushing up in our cobra. And again, only go as far as your body wants to go today. Breathe here. And exhale to the floor. Tuck your toes and push back up to all fours. We're now going to, keeping the spine neutral, extend the right leg behind and the left arm forwards, if your balance allows. If not, you can do one or the other. And I want you to try and lift that right foot up off of the mat. If your balance feels good, bend that back leg so that you look like you're going to stamp on the ceiling. So your foot should be facing right up towards the roof. And try and swim that arm, the left arm, backwards. And see if you can grab any part of your leg. Foot, ankle, shin. If you can't, that's absolutely fine. Keep the leg bent as if you're stamping on the ceiling. And just focus on lifting that leg up, engaging the glute. If you have managed to get hold of your back leg, try and lift up a bit further. You're really trying to stamp on the ceiling here. Ooh. And if you lose your balance, that's fine. We will do this, see if you can regain the posture or come back to all fours. Make sure you're pulling your belly button in again here, so you're not just sagging your belly down. And without a thud, try and gently place the hand and the knee back on the floor. See, wobbling's fine, you're allowed to wobble. We're going to do the same on the other side. Stretch that left leg back out behind you. Right arm out in front. If your balance is feeling okay, bring that foot up off the mat. Bend that leg, lift using your glute and try and stamp on the ceiling. Bring the right arm round and see if you can grab hold on this side. If you can, we're going to try and stamp that foot even further and really shine that chest forwards and up. You might find one side's more flexible than the other, your balance is better on one side than the other. That's completely fine. And then slowly lower down, back onto our all fours. Tuck the toes, push the hips back up to the ceiling, finding that downward dog again. From here, walk the toes towards your hands, coming as close as you can. That might be with a nice big bend in the knees. And coming into a forward fold. So just let the head hang heavy, the upper body flops onto the legs can have a bend in them. And on your exhale here, see if you can really release through that upper back, relaxing onto the thighs. I find this a really lovely release for my upper back. A little bit more of a bend in the knees, and we're going to roll up to stand. Nice and slow. Head and gaze comes last. Inhale, roll those shoulders back. And bring yourself to Tadasana, mountain pose. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, fold forwards over the hips. Finding your forward fold, that might be on a block. Might be hands to shins or thighs. Inhale, find that flat back. Exhale, plant the hands, step or jump back to high plank or knees on the floor. And Chaturanga, coming forwards to 90 degrees. Inhale to Cobra, as we've already done, or Upward Dog. Exhale, Downward Dog. Breathe here. Inhale, right leg lifts. That might just be to 90 degrees behind you or up to the sky or somewhere in between. Exhale, right knee to right elbow, coming forwards to plank. Again, you can drop the knee here or plant the foot if holding the knee is too much. Inhale, right leg back up to the sky, three-legged dog. Exhale, coming forwards again, bringing that knee with control to plant in between or near in between your hands. Find strength and grounding in your feet, keeping that back heel off the floor. Inhale to high lunge. Keep an eye on that front knee, make sure it's not coming over the ankle. Breathe here. Bring the arms down and clasp behind the back. So you can see the clasp I'm doing there. Inhale, lift the chest. We're going to come into humble warrior. So here we lean forwards, keeping the hands clasped, and try and bring the arms as far up as they want to go. They might not go very far, that doesn't matter. Trying to stay really strong in that front leg, and don't forget the back one, make sure it's really lifted. Breathe here. This is quite an intense pose. And on an inhale, use that grip to lift you up and back, up into your high lunge. Staying here, keeping that front leg bent. From here, we're going to go into half moon. And make sure you've got your brick handy. And actually the best way to do this one is probably to have the brick in your right hand to begin with. So you release your humble warrior clasp, take the brick in one hand. With the weight on the front foot, bring your left hand to your hip and turn so your hips are facing the side of your mat. Brick in one hand. We're going to use our balance here to reach forwards and then to come down and place that brick on the floor. You can have it on your highest height, you can have it on your middle height or your lowest height, whatever feels best. You might find you don't need a block at all. I like to use one here. And what we want to do is bring, if you can, that right arm up to the ceiling and try and find our balance here. This is not an easy pose. As you'll notice, I'm not looking at the camera anymore because I'm having to concentrate to keep my balance. If you put a foot down or you have to come out a bit, that's fine. It's about trying to play with the movement, see what your body can do. Now try and keep that balance on the front leg and lift yourself up to standing without putting that back leg down, if you can. Bringing that knee in front. And then again, we're going to use the strength to straighten that leg and imagine you're stamping on the wall in front. If you bring your hands to your hips, it's easier to feel whether your hips are level. That left hip will tend to want to pop upwards, so try and make sure you keep it down there, keep the hips level. Well done, this pose is not easy, a lot of balance. Bring that leg back through with control, back down into high lunge. And bringing the arms up. Well done, that is not an easy move to pull off or sequence of moves. And whatever yours look like is great. Bring the hands down to the floor to frame that front foot, coming into plank, that's either high or modified on the knees, and bringing through chaturanga again. Inhale, upward dog or cobra. Exhale, downward dog. Same sequence on the other side. Inhale, left leg rises. Exhale, knee to left elbow. Inhale, shoots to the sky. Exhale, with control, bring that foot through to plant it in between the hands. Ground through that front heel and use your strength to bring you up to your high lunge on your left side. Hold here. Again, watching that alignment of the knee directly over the ankle, not coming over the top of it. 90 degrees there. Remember to bring the belly button in, pull the ribs in so that we're not arching too much. Bring the arms down behind, find that humble warrior clasp again, and bring the weight as far forwards as you can. Try and stay strong in the legs, breathe deeply. Well done. On the inhale, use the strength of the grip to bring you back up to stand. We're going to try the half moon balance on the other side. So if you did so on the other side, use your block. Bring it into that left hand. And bring your right hand to your right hip. Turn your hip so that you're facing the other way this time. I'm going to be facing away from you. So hips open out to the side. Stretch nice and tall. As you bring that weight forwards, reach the arm forwards before you bring it down. Once you find your placement of that hand, really try and rotate that top shoulder, opening the hips out. This is sometimes quite nice to do with a wall behind you, so that if you do over topple, you've got a bit of support there. Flex the back foot, really push it away from you there. And if you can, bring the right arm up to the ceiling. Well done. Breathe here. Bring the hand back to the hip. Turn the hips downwards back towards the floor. And see if you can come to standing again without putting that right foot down. I just find I have to correct my bottom heel a little bit there. Hands on the hips to try and keep your hips nice and straight. And we're going to stamp that foot away. Trying to use our strength to keep the leg up. Your leg may be down here, that doesn't matter. Wherever you feel that you're using your muscles. With control, bring that leg back through centre, bend that front leg and come back down into our high lunge. Arms reaching upwards. Bring the hands down, frame that front foot. Again, coming into our plank or modified plank. This time we're going to do chaturanga, just to lower ourselves gently to the floor. When you reach the floor, stretch the right leg back, the left leg back, and both arms back here as well. Palms facing downwards. And on this inhale, we're going to use the strength of our back muscles and our glutes to lift up off of the mat. If you can, bring the hands off the mat as well. And breathe here. Again, the breath might be a little bit challenging because you're on your belly. But just try and keep smooth breaths in and out. And relax. Bend your right leg and your left leg. So you're bringing your heels in as close to your bottom as you can. And we're going to come into bow pose. And the idea of the pose I just showed you here is that eventually we're holding onto our feet and lifting to create a nice bow shape with the body. But we can do different stages from this position here to that final pose. So from here you can bring your arms underneath your shoulders if that's easier for you. And use the hands and the strength in the back to do a cobra. Almost a sphinx, almost the elbows are on the floor, but lifting yourself up. And you can try and see how far behind you can reach with one arm and the other arm. Or if you can, reach both arms behind. If your arms are nowhere near your feet, because your feet are nowhere near your bottom, that is fine. Just hold the pose wherever you get to with your body, with your strength and flexibility. If you've got hold of your legs, try and reach those feet up towards the ceiling. You can flex the feet and try and stamp them like we did in all fours. And that allows you to really lift the chest and feel the pose. And exhale, relax down. Bring the hands underneath the face, turn the face to one side and just shake out the legs a little bit. Wiggle around, give yourself a little break. Should all be feeling pretty warm by now. Turn the face to the other side, so we're balanced out. And again, you can give yourself a little shake here. Bring the forehead to neutral. We're going to do that pose again. So wherever you managed to get to last time, see if you can do the same thing again. If your lower back is not liking this at all, feel free to come back to our low cobras where you've got more weight on the hands and you're not putting so much pressure through the back. Or indeed you can bring your arms down so your elbows are below your shoulders and do a Sphinx pose, which is quite a nice supported back bend. So for those that want to come with me, bend the legs, feet in towards the bottom, reaching one or both arms behind, flex the feet and lift up the legs and the chest, really trying to stamp those feet on the ceiling. And breathe. Well done. One more breath. And exhale all the way down. Plant the hands on the floor and push back into a well-deserved child's pose. Knees as wide as the mat. Sink bottom backwards onto the heels and take child's pose here. And feel yourself resting in this pose. Slowly start to walk the hands back towards the body and bring yourself onto your knees. And here we want to make sure that we've got a straight line from the knees to the feet. This might feel more comfortable if you tuck your toes. Or again, like we did in hero pose at the beginning, if you want to place a towel underneath the front of your ankles, that can sometimes take some of the pressure off and feel really nice. Come up to a high kneeling position. We're going to do camel pose now, which is another back extension. And for this, I think the most important thing is you only go as far as you can go. And you really need to engage your abdominal muscles to protect your lower back for this one. And the idea with any back bend isn't that you just sink backwards and bend. It's that you lift upwards, engage the belly, and it's like you're trying to go over a bar. So you're going up and over to go backwards, rather than just crumpling backwards. Bringing the hands to the hips. Make sure the hips are over the knees. This pose is slightly easier if you have the toes touched like this, because your heels are at a higher point. If you're more advanced, you might like to have the feet flat on the floor. You can start with the heels up and then always drop them back. So what I like to do here is place my hands on my sacrum and pull the elbows together, so you're really opening that chest up and imagining that we're going up and then backwards. The head's going to stay really neutral, so don't lead with the head. Try and keep the spine nice and long. Inhale, reach up with the chest, and then we slowly start to use the hands and the belly muscles to move the pelvis forwards as we go backwards. The chin stays tucked in, the head stays long, and only when you're bent backwards do you then try and reach for your feet. If you can't get down to your feet, that is absolutely fine. You stay with the hands on the sacrum and only go as far as you can go. Once you're back fully, you can then, if you want to, relax the head back. From here, if you've managed to get your heels, you might like to lower the feet down. This does intensify it. Breathe here. To come back up, hands come to the sacrum and you use your muscle strength to lift. Again, head comes to neutral and you lift up from the back. Well done. That pose is no joke. It can be quite intense. And as I said, if it's too much on your lower back, please don't push it. And just come into a gentle back extension as far as you can. And then as long as you're using your strength to bring you back up to your kneeling position, you're getting all of the energizing benefits of a back bend and using your core. So that's great. You can come back down for a quick another child's pose if your back feels like it needs a little stretch out. That might be an indicator you've gone a little bit too far this time. And coming back up to the knees, we're going to do that pose one more time. So making sure you'll mount up nice and strong, hips over the knees. Tuck the toes if you'd like to. Hands come round onto the sacrum. And just keep a little bit of pressure there, pushing the hips forwards, drawing the elbows together. Tuck your chin in. Inhale, we lift the chest up. Engage the abdominal muscles. And then we move the hips forwards, keeping the chin in line. Start to bend over and backwards. Releasing the hands when you're close enough if you get there. And letting the head relax. Now my back last time felt like I needed a stretch afterwards, so I'm going to keep my toes tucked. Because ideally you shouldn't need to do that afterwards. Breathe here. Bringing the hands back to the sacrum, use the strength to lift yourself back up to kneeling. Well done. Press back onto your heels and bring the weight and your bottom down to the mat. Grab your strap or whatever you're using today, and we're going to come into our seated forward fold Paschimottanasana. So like we did when we were standing in our balance sequence, we're going to do, this is seated staff pose. When we were doing it with one leg out front, when we were balancing, that was our standing staff pose. So imagine that you're stamping your feet forwards, you're engaging through the legs, pulling up through the spine, pulling up through the top of the crown of the head, belly buttons in. If you don't have a huge amount of hamstring flexibility, you can use a strap for this one. In my last flow, we did this with one leg at a time. We're going to do this one with two. So you can bend your legs, the strap around your heels. And just like we do when we're going backwards, when we're going forwards, we try and go up and over rather than down. So it doesn't matter how close your nose gets to your shin. No one cares. It really doesn't matter. You're trying to get forwards and over, creating length, nice straight spine. You can use your arms here to bring yourself forward, and you come forward on the exhale. It's a lot easier, feels more natural. If you can reach your shins or your feet, you don't need a strap, and you can just keep trying to bring yourself forwards. If you notice, my nose is facing forward, it's not anywhere near my shin. You can bring your nose to your shin if you've got that hamstring flexibility in the back of your legs there. But what I want you to focus on is keeping your back nice and straight, not dropping and curving like this. Breathe here, wherever that might be for you. And on an inhale, I'm going to come back up. We're going to do reverse plank now. This is quite an intense pose as well, so if you prefer, you can plant your feet and you can practice doing reverse tabletop, which is the same motion. We're going to do it with straight legs. And you want to bring your hands so they're resting behind you with your fingers facing forwards in the same direction as your body. And on an inhale, we lift using the strength in our core and our glutes to bring you up into reverse plank. You can keep the head wherever feels more natural for you. In this position for me, this feels better. Dropping it back doesn't, but if that feels better for your neck, then you can. Really feel through the glutes lifting up from the hips. You can bring the toes off the floor, sometimes that can be easier. And hold. On an exhale, lower yourself down. Coming forwards into Paschimottanasana again. Take your strap if you used it. Arms up. And we're reaching up and over again. Coming forwards. You might find you can go a little bit further this time. And holding onto the shins, the thighs, the feet, whatever it is you can reach. This time on an inhale, I want you to come up a little bit, and on your exhale, see if you can fold a little bit deeper into your posture. Inhale, rise slightly. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. Exhale, fold. Well done. If your hamstrings are really unhappy, back off slightly. You should be able to hold this steady and comfortable, should the pose be. And try and use the breath to help you hold the posture. On an inhale, work yourself back up again, keeping your back straight. Plant the hands behind you, fingers facing forwards again, and coming into reverse plank. If you want to do reverse tabletop, again you plant the feet hip width apart, and you use your hips, the same motion, to bring the hips up towards the ceiling and hold there. Keep holding. Lifting from the hips, really using the strength to hold this posture. It's so important when we're doing back extensions to have the strength in your core to protect yourself. One more breath. And lower down. I want you now to cross your ankles and see if you can bring yourself through to high plank or low plank, coming through chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog or cobra. Exhale, downward dog. We're going to take the same flow that we did a little while ago before doing our back extensions, but with a few little extra bits added in. Inhale, right leg rises. Exhale, this time cross the knee underneath you and bring it to your opposite elbow. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, bring that foot through, plant it, find your balance. High lunge. Clasp the hands behind you, reaching up and forwards into humble warrior. Hold here, really feel that strength in the legs. On an inhale, use the arms to bring you back up towards your high lunge. And grab your block again for half moon. Bring the left hand to the hip. Turn so that your hips are facing the side of your mat. Arms coming out, you can bring the weight onto that front foot. Reach forwards, left hand on the hip, and bringing that block forwards and down. When you're here, try and rotate. Oh, lose your balance, like I did. Again, I think I lost the balance on this side last time as well. Try and rotate the shoulders, the chest, back up to the ceiling, and arm up to the ceiling. If you're feeling balanced, which I'm not, you can bring your gaze up to the ceiling as well. Hopefully your balance is better than mine today. Again here, we're going to try and keep that left leg off the floor, coming to stand in your staff pose. I'm going to face you for this bit because we're going to change it up. So as you did before, with your standing staff pose, stamp that foot towards the front. And then we're going to cross that left leg over the right leg and wrap it around. Eagle legs. Now we've got our left leg on top, so the left arm's going to go underneath, and you bring the left arm under the right arm and wrap the arms like you have your legs. You might find your hands can come like this. They may not come together, that's fine. Or if you can, wrap the hands and then you can make your top hand like a little beak for eagle pose. Try and sink the hips down, arms reach up, and hold here. Unravel the legs. And now we're going to come to standing split or standing 90 degrees, whichever one you can do today. Bringing the hands, keeping that left leg off the floor, slowly start to come down to the mat. So now you can place your hands on the floor and have your back leg out at 90 degrees, which I can't do because there's a wall behind me. Or if you can, try and bring that leg up into more of a split. If you can find your split today, you can bring one hand to the back of your standing leg and see if we can get into that pose nice and deeply here. Breathe here. Again, this is not an easy posture by any means. And if your posture is like this, great, that's excellent, well done. Keeping that balance and that strength in that right leg. Bring the leg back down together and let yourself relax into a forward fold. Bring a slight bend in the legs, roll all the way up to standing. Roll those shoulders back. And I want you, if you can, if you're not too dizzy, try and close the eyes here. And sense how one side of the body feels compared to the other. Just done a lot of intense work on that right leg. You might find your calf muscles, your ankles are burning a little bit, because it's not used to holding that balance for so long. Feel free to wiggle out your legs if you'd like to release some of that tension that's built up there. Coming to the top of your mat again, finding Tadasana. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, fold forwards from the hips. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, high plank or on your knees, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog or cobra. Exhale to downward dog. Breathe here. Inhale, left leg to the sky. Exhale, coming in a twist, left knee to right elbow. Inhale, leg to the sky. Exhale, bending the knee, coming forwards into your high lunge. Find your strength and your balance here. Clasp the hands behind the back. Inhale, reach tall with the chest, coming forwards and over. Humble warrior. Breathe in this posture here. Inhale, using the arms to bring you back up to standing. Get hold of your block. Coming to do your half moon on the other side. Right hand to right hip. Turning that back leg and hips to face the side. Bring the weight forwards onto that left leg and reach that arm forwards and over before you come down. Stamp that back foot behind you and rotate the hips and that top shoulder up towards the ceiling. And straighten that arm up to the sky if you'd like to. And if you're feeling very stable, lift the gaze up to the sky. Keep the weight on that front foot, trying not to lose the balance and put the right foot down if you can. Coming into our staff pose on the other side. Keep the hands on the hips, that will help you to keep them level. And wrap your top leg around your left one. Eagle legs. This time we've got the right leg on top, so the right arm's going to go underneath. And we wrap. Not forgetting the eagle's beak, if you can get your hands around to that position. Sink the hips down, lift the arms up. Breathe. Unravel the legs, keeping that right foot still off the floor, and see if you can find your standing 90 degrees or standing split. Coming down nice and slowly, finding that balance. Bring that top leg down to stand from next to your left foot that's still on the floor. And forward fold. Bring yourself down into a crouch, and you're coming all the way down to the floor. So I'm going to do a little bit of core work here just to get us down onto the mat. Coming onto your bottom into boat pose. Now what you don't want to do in boat pose is completely collapse in the back and do nothing. You want to pull up, engage your belly muscles, and hold this posture nice and strong. Legs can be bent or they can be straight, whichever feels best for you. Pulling up, keeping that belly nice and engaged. As we lower down, we're going to go nice and slowly as you can, and see how low you can get without having to collapse to the floor. And relax when you get to the bottom. Nice deep breath here. I'm saying that because I need to take one. Plant your feet onto the floor. Last little back bend here, and then we're heading into Shavasana territory. Try and bring your heels close enough to your bottom so that your fingers can touch your heels. We're going to do bridge pose. So here you want to really ground through the toes, through the heels, and just like we did in reverse plank and reverse tabletop, try and lift the hips directly up towards the ceiling. So on an inhale we lift, using the glutes and the strength in the legs. You can clasp your hands underneath your body, wiggle your shoulders closer together if you like. And hold here. If you want more of a challenge, you can lift the right leg up for a breath and lower. Lift the left leg up for a breath and lower. Really keep those glutes lifted, hips high. Unclasp the hands if you had them clasped. Inhale up onto the toes, and exhale, see if you can lower vertebrae by vertebrae. Excellent, well done. Bring the knees into the chest, hug them in, and take a gentle roll from side to side if that feels nice. Take this time to take whatever you need in the body before we come into Shavasana, our final resting pose. So you might like to stay here, you might like to take a little happy baby with hands on the outsides of the feet. Bring the legs down into a supine squat. You can rock that from side to side. That can feel really lovely on the hips and the back when we've been working them so hard. You can take your two peace fingers, wrap them around the big toes, and take the same posture if you like. Or just keep the knees nice and into the chest with that gentle rocking. Bring the hands to the knees here and just allow your weight of your legs to massage your sacrum a little bit. So doing gentle circles with the legs, with the knees completely bent. Shifting the weight into the sacrum, coming back round across the back of the pelvis, the lower back. And change direction. One more circle. Plant the feet onto the floor. And get whatever you need now to make your Shavasana as comfortable as it can be. That might be a bolster under the knees, some socks, a jumper, whatever you feel like you need to be really comfortable. We've done a lot of work on the lower back. So if being out with your legs stretched feels a little bit too much on the lower back after all those extensions, again that indicates you probably pushed yourself a little bit too hard. So try and be a little bit kinder to yourself next time, and maybe ask yourself why you felt the need to push that hard. This is your practice. You don't have to try and prove anything to anyone. So you can have your legs stretched out, or if your back is feeling a bit grumpy after all of that work, you can plant the feet as wide as the mat and knock your knees together. That can help relax the back, or placing a bolster under the knees will take some of the strain off of the lower back. And give yourself up to these few moments at the end of practice to really feel what you've done, feel what's left behind, and let go of anything you don't want to take into the rest of your day. Take a slightly deeper breath. Bring some movement into your fingers and your toes. Maybe yawn the arms right up overhead as if it's the beginning of the day. And take a roll onto your side. Keeping the eyes closed, bring yourself up to a seated position. Just have a quick scan of the body, see how you're feeling. Hopefully this energy boosting yoga flow will start to manifest itself in the next sort of half an hour or so, and you'll start to feel really nice and energized. Back bends are great at lifting your mood, lifting your energy levels, and getting you going for what's left of your day, or setting you up right for your day if you're starting in the morning. Thank you so much for joining me again today at the Mindful Yoga Medic. If you're interested and would like to know more about how to keep yourself energized, I'm going to be doing a blog that will be up very soon on www.themindfulyogamedic.com. I'm I put a little link to a smoothie recipe underneath which uses a good hit of ginger, which is good at boosting your energy levels as well if you want to carry on this theme for the rest of your day. Take care of yourselves, stay safe, and stay.